Alright, welcome back to our next video in the small gas engine series. Here we are picking up at the end of video 2 and working on further assembling this engine. So as you'll notice here, we have not scraped off the head gasket. As mentioned in the other videos, we are waiting on those parts to show up but didn't have time to wait on the video. So those will come. But they're not here yet. Here what we're doing is we're oiling up the head gasket. For those of you that are wondering why we're oiling the head gasket, because this is a teaching engine, I've discovered over time that if you oil the head gasket and you allow your students to run these for about 15 minutes, that head gasket will stay fairly usable for 2 or 3 years, so you'll save quite a bit of money. Here we're installing the valve. This valve still has the valve guide lube still on it. You can see that gray there on the stem. So as we put this in, we're going to set it down on a socket. There is a specialty tool for this, but I've found it's not necessary to use this. So put the spring on, and I'll put the retainer on, and then there are 2 small clamshells in this particular retainer. These you have to get to stick onto the valve stem. Some teachers use grease. I found a little bit of oil will generally hold those in place as well. So the trick here is that you want them to stick to the valve stem while you're pushing down the retainer and the spring. So you slide them into the hole a little bit, push down, and then kind of wiggle them into place. It can take a little bit of finesse. But generally it's not very difficult to push this down as long as you got the right size socket underneath to hold everything up, so as you're pushing down it's fairly stable to push. Here one went in rather easily, and then we're working on pushing that second one down, just kind of wiggle it around, and there it is. So you can see it sits nice and level, and kind of move it around a little bit to make sure it's not going to pop out. That does happen from time to time. Okay, we're going to transition here for a second and talk about some valve retainers that are pretty common in other model engines. Here we've got 3 different springs. If we lay them side by side, you'll see that they're obviously different sizes. That's primarily due to the size of the engine that they came out of. But we want to specifically look at the 2 that are the same height. If you hold these up and look real closely at them, you'll notice that the spring on the left has slightly heavier gauge wire that it's made out of. When you push on them, you'll notice that the one on the right side there is considerably easier to push down. If you have this situation in your engine, then you're going to put that lighter gauge spring on your intake valve. Alright, so our engine had a clamshell retainer. This retainer here is the most common one that you will see, especially on homeowner or disposable style engines, ones that are not really designed to be repaired. This retainer is very, very common, and it operates by having a large hole that the valve stem slides through. Once you get down into the groove there, then it will slide over and it will lock. So now the retainer is held in place by the valve. It's very secure in there, but also very easy to remove. You just slightly depress the spring, kick it off to the side, and then it comes off. Here we have a competitor's retainer. This one, you'll notice the center is all busted out. What happened is it was made from a thinner material. On first look, it appears to be thicker because from the side they've rolled the edges and it looks very beefy, but it is in fact not very sturdy. So what happened on this engine that caused it to fail was that the inside broke, and then the valve spring pushed it off, and then the valve of course didn't open and close properly. In fact, it wouldn't hardly close at all, so it had no compression. So anyway, this is a failed valve retainer. Just one example. from a non-Briggs engine. Alright, so let's transition back here into our factory engine that we're rebuilding. So here we've oiled the head gasket. We're ready to go ahead and install this. I'm going to line up, there's a couple of sleeves that slide through that help you align. And then we're going to go ahead and put in our head bolts. Now, in older style engines, especially the L heads, they had two different lengths of head bolts. That's no longer the case, at least in this particular model. They're all the same length, so it doesn't matter what bolt goes where. And we're just going to snug these down. Briggs does say that when you are torquing these, they should be torqued in a particular order. You'll notice it goes from the center right to the center left, and then up to the top right, and then down to that bottom center, and then back up to the last one on the top left. So Briggs & Stratton has designated this so that as you're tightening it, hopefully you don't warp anything and don't put undue pressure on any of these as you're going along. The head bolts are at 220 inch-pounds, and we're going to go ahead here in just a second, fast forward through this because we've done a lot of torquing so far, so there's no reason to show that again. So we're just going to go ahead and zip through it really quickly. Alright, once these are all torqued down all the way, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put in our lift rods. And when you're replacing the rocker arms and putting the lift rods in, make sure that those lift rods sit down on the tappets. And there's a little tiny cup on the top of the tappet that you'll sit those on. If I could have figured out some way to show the camera down in the hole there, I would have, but I couldn't figure out any way to get that. So trust me that those are sitting on the little cup in the end of the tappet. So then we're going to go ahead and put these rocker arms down, the rocker arm stud. We're just going to fast forward through installing those really quickly, snugging them down, because there's no reason to watch a bolt go in slow motion. So alright, now as we've got these snugged down, the next step is we're going to go ahead and rotate the engine a couple of times just to make sure everything works. And then we're going to find the intake stroke. Once we complete the intake stroke at top dead center of the start of the compression stroke, we're now going to turn the crank an additional 1/4 of an inch. We want to bring the piston down just a little bit and make sure that the compression release is not engaged at all. And when we've done this, now we are ready to adjust our valve clearance. So both of these rocker arms should be fairly loose. What we're going to do now is we're going to tighten the studs down first to 100 inch-pounds. And once we get those down to 100 inch-pounds, then we're ready to adjust that nut on the back side so that we get the proper clearance. So first torque them down, then adjust on the rocker arms. Now that we have the rocker arms torqued in place, we're going to go ahead and loosen these bolts on the back. So the inside is a Torx head, and then just a regular nut. So you loosen the nut. Once you have the nut loosened, you'll be able to easily turn that the screw. And as you're going ahead and moving back and forth on this set screw, it's kind of a game to go back and forth with the 2 wrenches. You're looking for ideally right around 5/1000ths of an inch on both valves. So it's a matter of bringing the feeler gauge in. You want it to be snug against the feeler gauge, but you don't want the feeler gauge to actually push that valve down at all, and you don't want it to be kind of bound up in there. That's how you know it's pushing it down. So back and forth until you find that happy medium and have that adjusted. And then obviously you repeat that on the intake side, which we don't show here just to save time. Last thing that goes on in this step is that you're going to put on that overhead valve cover, which also includes the breather, which hopefully you checked to make sure was clear. and was functioning properly. This also has a torque value, but you'll notice in this video we don't actually torque these. That's just to try and save and maintain the engines throughout many years, hopefully, of student use. The last thing we'll do is we'll put the spark plug in just to keep the cylinder clean so we can walk away from it and come back another day. And that's where we'll pick up on our last and final assembly video. Thanks for watching, and hope you join us for the last video.